All right. If you want to
Okay, Mike, you're up.
call to order,
A call to order the meeting, April 4th, 2022. And the first on the agenda is to talk about the pickleball at the senior center and how it's evolving.
and that's with Emily Williams and David Brim.
Right.
Dave, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I would say you should go first. I didn't really
Okay.
have a lot to say.
All my feedback is positive, so we'll start on a positive note, I guess. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Williams, the director of the Bridgewater Council on Aging and Senior Center. And the pickleball courts have been phenomenal. I can't speak as the whole situation with having a senior center and some active recreation is really, whoever thought of this idea, I think it's you, Jimmy, is high fives, because it's successful. And the reasons it's been successful is because of the partnerships between Parks and Rec, Elder Affairs, and community members, and the open lines of communications. We have Jim Campbell, a gentleman named Bob, and I don't know his last name, and Tony.
Bob Sergio, Tony Sensi.
Okay, the three of you have been, we launched in March having free pickleball 101 classes, so classes for beginner students to learn the art and craft of and the sport of pickleball has been successful because of the three of your educational learning experiences. At the senior center, we have folks participating in our programs and services age 60 and older. And some of these folks have been caregivers. Most, if not all, are retirees. Many who have participated in your classes have been athletes in their younger years. And it's been all the feedback that we've received from these participants in your classes have been very, very positive, and they want more. I know Rich Gopin here is on our Elder Affairs Commission. He's been one of your students, and he spoke very highly, and it's great because it's been one of those new programs at the senior center when we've been closed or when we've been in a pandemic for so long. So you take a group of older adults who have been isolated, lonely, the chronic illnesses like COPD and dementia and some mental health issues have surfaced. Pickleball has been a relief for a lot of them. So one of the testimonials we received was from one of your first classes. It was a husband and wife couple. He has severe dementia, so he did not want to participate. And his wife wanted to give it a try, she said. And she will not be returning, but it doesn't mean that she didn't give it a go, which means that she felt that purpose. She felt that excitement. She wanted to get back. She was an athlete in her younger years, but she wanted to get back on the courts and to be in a social setting, playing a sport that she'd never tried before. She played tennis, but she was able to try something that brought back her younger spirit. And she said she was very thankful for that. She's going to stick to chair yoga, but that's okay. It was just one of those, I wanted to give that positive feedback because we've had at your classes between 15 and 20 participants.
You want it?
So that's very positive in my opinion. In the winter, spring. And now you're offering a second
Zoom
month of
meeting
classes
ID.
Tuesdays at 9 a.m., which is, you'll have a full house tomorrow again. So thank you.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get some help here and I'll get right back to you. Stay on the line then.
I'm trying.
Okay.
He
So
needs
can
to
you,
open.
Brooke, Danny never got the link for the Zoom meeting, so I'm gonna just step out and get some help to get it to him, okay?
Okay.
Once,
And Tom,
oh,
too.
Brooke, could you send it to Danny?
Yeah,
Okay, she's gonna send it to you, Bill. Okay, okay, bye-bye. Okay, if you can send it to him, he'll be right with us.
okay.
Emily, that, what you said about the pickleball is just fantastic. It gives us all a sense of happiness going through the pandemic. And now, when it gets active out there this summer, it should be a blast for everyone.
If there's one thing I could add, I'm a regular member at the East Bridgewater YMCA. And there's pickleball classes that are going over at the Y now, and also leagues over there. And quite a few of the gentlemen over there have checked out the pickleball courts at the senior center with plans as soon as it gets a little warmer to be playing over there. So I think they're going to pick up a lot of people that have gone elsewhere with limited access to go over to the senior center. So I think it's going to be a very big program come the warmer weather.
Now, are there going to be problems with a Bridgewater residents going to be top priority if it gets so successful that, or how are you going to organize it?
You looking at
Oh,
me?
I'm sorry.
I think you, Jimmy, might answer it.
Mhm.
It's still up in the air. The Bob, the people that I thought would want to organize it and run it, they all talk about it's better not to have any league or not to have anything. So I think it's a mistake, but I thought that if you had a low price for a Bridgewater resident, like I compare to Raynham or Lakeville or Abington or somewhere, if you charge Bridgewater residents $60, it's 6 months. So it comes down to $10 a month, roughly $2.50 a week, 5 days a week would be 50 cents to play for 3 hours. So I don't think but you would put away some money in case the nets had to be replaced or something had to be done down the road, and you'd have someone in charge. And like I say, that's how it works every place I've ever been. But a few of them suggesting that, oh, we ought to just leave it open since it's the first year. And I don't know how you'll be able to tell a Bridgewater resident from a non-Bridgewater resident, or who's going to be keeping track of them, or who keeps a list if someone gets hurt and there's an incident, a lot of things, that are normally done. I play at the Y, and even though that's an open league in East Bridgewater, you just walk in and you play. Leo, the guy that gets there first, sets up the nets, says to everyone, used to come out, used to go on, and everyone just follows his lead, and it happens that way. Raynham, you go down, they know you're a member, you write in your name on the board, you go out and play, you come out. Lakeville, same thing. And as far as the price, right now, if you play down Lakeville indoors, it'd be $10 a day. So it would cost you $50 a week. At the Y, you pay $35 to join the Y, you get to play free. Almost every place has a rate.
Jim, if they charged, how would cards be given out that somebody has paid, or and who would be checking them?
What it would be is someone would come. Let's see who's going to make these decisions, but someone would come. Well, let's compare it to the softball league. The softball league pays the town some money to take care of the fields and stuff. Someone runs the softball league. I don't even know who it is, but almost every place has a league like that, and they give money to the town for the few days that they use it. But that way there you have someone that's taking, handling it. That's all there is to it. And the way I would do it, I gave it to Bob. He might do it anyway, even if they're not paying. You can get a bracelet. If you get 90 bracelets, they're 9 cents a piece. 100 bracelets, they're 9 cents a piece. It would say, be a red silicone bracelet, and would say Bridgewater Pickleball Club on it. And you wear the bracelet. Other places give you a tag. You put it on your bag when you come. eventually you get to know everybody anyway, because you play with everybody. And what they do is people come down and they don't know how to play. Guys that know how to play go over and teach them how to play. You know, you set a certain time and you do it. And it usually flows pretty seamlessly, but I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
Were you surprised that the guys didn't want to run it, Jimmy, that way?
Well, two of them ain't back yet. You know, it's pretty. If you think about it, like for me, it worked well. I could pay to play in Rainham, and then I could play in Bridgewater for free. You know,
Yeah.
so it depends on what you're looking for. You know, I don't know. Like I say, I don't know how it's going to be organized right now.
Now, you play at Rainham as Edgewood, right?
Yeah.
Do you have to be a member to play there? A member of Edgewood?
Technically, you're a member of Edgewood, but it's run by Bob Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not a member of Edgewood and you go over there and you get hurt, what's the situation then?
Well, like I say, I don't. What it is Edgewood has tennis and they have pickleball. So last year was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and one night. And when you show up, Bob Hall would be there. And guys would show up that were members and they'd brush the courts off, clean them. They had to set up the nets over there. They don't have that in Bridgewater. You know, I'm not saying anyone's wrong.
No, I didn't think you
I
were.
just think it's hard. What do you do if you show up? People think because there's 6 courts is a lot. What do you do if you show up tomorrow and there's 24 people playing? You know,
Mhm.
he just said, he admits, I look tonight, there's 12 people going to the Y tomorrow that are going to come over to play. Once it gets warm out, they're going to go play outdoors. If your people are playing $125 this year in Rainham, why would they do that if they could come and play in Bridgewater for free? There was over 100 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If you're not charged, it's going to be a mess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Seems
know.
like
Like I said, I thought if you don't have anyone to run it, it doesn't matter whether you say charging or not charging.
Yeah.
Are there any other town courts around?
Tons of them.
I know. How do they do it?
Well, Lakeville used to have it at the Ted Williams camp, and they
Mhm.
used to get money, and the people repaired the courts and everything. But then they went crazy and wanted to charge too much, so they left and went to Rainham. And now in the wintertime, they do it indoors at Lakeville. Down in Duxbury, they do it. They don't actually. They kind of have a group from Duxbury that they're the only ones that play there from 8 till a certain time. Abington charge more for people out of town, and they won't even let you on the courts if it wasn't their league time. You couldn't even go there and play later in the day. So there's a variance on how it's done. Naples used to pay, if you were a member, you paid $5 a day. You know, you went and paid it to the recreation building, and you went outside and you played for that day. So
They're still doing that, Jim.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I said,
Can
we have a
we-
unique situation because when I talked with Emily and everything, we worked things out good. I mean, I think everything's going great, but I don't think the seniors could go down there and play by themselves. They need someone there if they haven't played before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To have 30 or 40 of them show up, they'd be going out in the court and it would be like practice, I guess. I don't know. It'd be a little different. But I think both ways can survive, and I'm fine with it the way it is, if that's the way it's going to go. You know, it's on players lineup right now that you have play tomorrow. And I looked at it, said one person or something. 1 in, 0 up, you know, it has, but it's too early to find out whether or not that's how it'll go.
Can something be? I know Emily has her hand up, but can
let
something
her-
be put on that pickleball, Bridgewater pickleball, like that we sign up for? Could something be put on there and say, looking to have a meeting for interested people to help like monitor the courts, or there may be people that would do that.
Well, Bob says he'll do it. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to, I actually asked them to have a meeting. I asked Tommy, Bob, Bruce, Joe Pitta, Bob Sergio, like I said, and Bob Hall. I asked them to have a meeting and talk about how they thought it should run, because they're the ones that people that, like Joe Pitta helps out Rainham, and Bob Hall runs Rainham, and you know, they've seen other ones, Tony. So I mean, whatever people decide, it doesn't, I'm fine either way. I just think it's a lot harder when you have no way of determining who should be there and who shouldn't, or who's gonna tell the people you've already been playing for an hour and a half, would you get off the court so someone else could play, or who's gonna, you know what I mean? We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
think
I
you'll,
told Emily
are you
I'm
gonna
interested
have a
once in
meeting, Jimmy? Do
Huh?
you think you'll have a meeting with those guys and figure it out? So everything's fair for everyone?
Well, like I say, I'm happy with any way it turns out.
Okay,
I just, from my experience, I don't like reinventing the wheel. And when you go to 30 different places, you know, right now, Starland, you pay $7 a day to get in, I think, to go play there. So in 5 days, you're paying $35. I mean, and Pickles, I think, is $12 a day. So it'd be $60 to play there for 5 days. So
Wow.
I mean, I
I'm sure
don't
people are
want the
gonna come
money.
to our place if it's no cost.
Well, what's gonna happen next week if some nitwit does like they used to do the bandstand and they cut 2 of the nets down? I mean, you know, I just thought it'd be a good idea. Who's gonna buy? If everyone brings their own balls, it's great. When they're done playing, there's 4 people walking around trying to find the ball that's theirs. And then the other people have to go in and bring theirs. I think it's a lot simpler to just have a big bucket of balls and people take from them, go play and leave them there
Mm-hmm.
when they're
Yeah.
done. Just seems to flow. But if
Mhm.
Emily has her hand up, why don't you let her?
Yeah. Emily.
Some of the feedback from the community, and these are seniors age 60 and up, so they're all experience level, all skill level. They've questioned about the goal of player lineup. What's the purpose of player lineup?
I think for right now, it's just to get people's name on there so they know what's going on. But right now, no one knows what's going on, basically. If you had something like you're planning tomorrow, the lessons or whatever, then they want it on. If they want to find it, they find it on Players Lineup. If you want to post it on the Facebook page of the senior, that's fine too. But I'm saying other people that ain't seniors or don't do that asked. So Bob was putting it on there. I thought eventually that was going to turn into the league like other towns. But like I say, if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, I don't know. The people that turned out were great. And we had some bad weather and we still had, 20, 30 people. And also, I think the turnout's going to be fine. And like I say, I wasn't asking for money to get rich, but the kids play Little League, pay money. A lot of people pay money to use fields that the town built. I think everyone pays to play girls softball, men's softball, whatever.
Hey, Gina, can I hop in here?
Sure.
I'm listening to Jim. Sorry about getting in. I've been listening to you, but I haven't been able to get on
Yeah.
and talk with you. I'm torn between charging because at 3:00 in the afternoon, who's going to be there?
No one. We're not charging
No,
yet.
that's what I'm saying. So we're just talking during the morning, just during
I'm
the
just talking
morning
maybe-
period of time, because most of the time it's going to be open during certain, especially in the summertime, in the midday. Who's going to use it? It's too.
I just think it'd be nice if there was a league and it ran for 3 or 4 days, 3 hours. So that'd be 12 hours and maybe one night. So it's 15 hours out of maybe 70. So you have 55 hours that you can do anything you want to do. I just think it
How
fits
does the
in.
league,
And if it doesn't, I don't care if it doesn't happen. I just, you're gonna see people saying, oh, put a padlock on there, put a combination lock on there so we can get in and get the paddles and the balls and everything. Well, yeah, well, if Bob Hall, I mean, I can give you the padlock combination in Rainham and Lakeville, because that's how it's run, but that's for the people that are in the league. They take care of this stuff. They even have the blowers in there to clean the courts off and stuff, and never had a problem, but
Okay.
who wants
yeah.
to run the league? Do you have someone who wants to run the league?
why I had asked, like I said, I when you went to that meeting and everything, the whole idea, I asked them all, is there someone that wants to run it? Bob said he'd like to run it. Joe
Bob
said
who?
he'd help. Bob Hall said he'd run it. I
Staying
think
from
in a couple
Bridgewater.
days. I don't know. I know I'm not running it. That's the one thing I do know. But I just think it'd be beneficial for the town. If it doesn't happen, I'm fine.
How about Bobby Sergio? That's the name I keep hearing.
That's what I thought that's how it was gonna be. I don't know.
Mhm.
Can I ask a
Danny
question?
had his hand up too.
Can you hear me today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can see you too.
Okay. So Jimmy, this league, is it just not actually like competition? It's more just show up and round robin and play, right?
Yeah, you show up and say all of us went. That's in this
Right.
meeting here, right?
Yeah,
Me, you,
I get it.
Tommy,
Okay.
me,
My
you.
question though is, I have a few concerns.
Yeah.
These courts were, and I don't know anything about pickleball.
Yeah.
My neighbor, he told me there's a thing tomorrow. I might come down. I want to learn it, but what I'm concerned about is you mentioned like all these other places are charging. And if we don't charge, people are going to show up here. I just think the Bridgewater residents somehow, and I don't have an answer for this right now, should get first preference. But if there's a league set up, and they block off certain hours, I'm all for that. But there should be some type of fee associated with that, minimal, just to cover
Yeah.
the cost. I'm a little concerned about the town or whatever providing balls and rackets, because for years when we had tennis courts, no one ever did that. I mean, if I went to go play, I'm going to show up tomorrow because I just want to watch it. I don't have a racket. I'll go buy one if I like it, but without charging
No.
a fee, you shouldn't be providing these things, because what's going to happen is that bucket of balls pretty soon there's going to be nothing left, I think. But that's just
Well,
my opinion. And
They last a long time. They're
Yeah.
only like 3 for $10. So you're not talking a lot of money.
My
but
point is this,
in-
Jimmy, if I want to go play tennis or I want to go play golf,
Yeah.
I mean, I bring my own, equipment. I just think people should be, unless it's part of a
I'm not
league.
giving you a paddle, Danny. Those paddles are for people that want to try it. I think we have 8 paddles. And they're for people who want to try and see if they like
Okay.
pickleball. And then they give them back. They go back.
But
to
again,
their
I also
keys.
think that years ago when I used to play basketball and I'd go down to the courts, and you can buy the courts today, there's not a lot of Bridgewater people playing basketball there. So I mean, it's just, I'm concerned that because it's such a popular sport, am I going to go down there with a couple of citizens and not get on the courts because there's people from, out
Well,
of town?
Whether you pay or not, it doesn't, I don't know how that would change. If 4 of us went down, there was people playing on the pickleball courts, how would that change? The league actually, you would pay less money for a Bridgewater resident, be like $60. You charge like $90 for someone that's from out of town. So that would slow it down a little.
Yeah. I mean,
And then, like you say, you play as you go. I mean,
right.
that's how it is. I went down to Naples and you put your name on the board, you end up walking in, you play, you sit down, your name's on the board again, you get up when it's your turn. I agree. I'm like I say, it's 20. If you think there's 24 people, if 48 show up, you play a game and you sit a game. I'm saying that's the average. I'm not saying what happened all the time. If there's 64 people, then you would play a game, sit 2 games.
Yeah, I
Well,
was,
72 people, I'm sorry.
no,
You would play a game, play 2 games. If there's 100 people, you'd play a game and sit 3 games. So, I mean, you probably want 100 people signed up, but you'd probably want 55, 60 people a day showing up, but they show up at different times. And if you don't get out that time, you have all the rest of the day. You got from 11 o'clock that day, if you went 8 to 11 till sunset. And then you got 4 days a week that you get to play at 8 o'clock in the morning if you want. I'm not
Okay,
sure it's gonna happen, so I won't worry about it.
right, I'd like to make a suggestion. We could talk about this all night. We're not gonna solve anything tonight. I think a lot of great ideas have been put out there. I'd suggest putting together an ad hoc committee. As long as there's one of us on it, see if we can get some others, Bob or whoever. Then to formulate ideas and bring them back to us. Ultimately, it's our decision, Park and Rec's decision.
I wouldn't bet on that either, but go ahead.
Well,
Charlie's making a sign up now, and one of the things on the sign says no lessons given without permission of the Recreation Commission. I mean, that was decided on a long time ago.
and that's fine,
I don't think-
except
I
did
think
the Rec Commission approve lessons for tomorrow?
no, but I don't want them to approve lessons for tomorrow. I think this is something that'll evolve. Emily's been fine. I've been fine. The people showing up are fine. I don't have a problem with any of it. I'm just making the suggestion that it would be better if there was someone there to run it. Like
Right,
every other place
we
I've
need
ever
to
been.
have, Jim, we need to have some type of policy. I agree. Emily's getting the word out to seniors. However, looking at that Bridgewater pickleball, whatever it was, I don't know the whole thing that we signed up on. There is
Players lineup.
yes, that's it. Thank you. There is a big
welcome.
discussion if there were even more lessons, because it's basically, if you get the senior newsletter or you watch Facebook and you see what Emily posts, otherwise there's no policy there. People don't know. It's a lot of word of mouth. We have to have a policy out there. Like I said,
I think since it's already set up, it'd be easier for people to just post it on players lineup. You know, have
but how do
Bob
people
post
know
it,
that?
just because it's
We need
already
to
set
have
up.
policies if Bridgewater people get precedent, that all has to be put into a policy. You just
Well, you
can't
can put
have,
it in, but now you need someone to police it, Jinger, and there isn't gonna be no one down there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If 24 people show up and are playing on the courts, they're gonna go down and tell them, oh, you're from out of town, I want to play, so you have to leave. It just ain't gonna, it don't work, it don't have to work that way. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I think if that's a problem for Emily has a problem with the seniors not getting time out there, then they'll set aside 3 or 4 days or it's times for the seniors. I
again,
don't, like I say, I'm not saying, I think everything's going along fine. I just expected someone to be saying, we're gonna have a league, sign up for the league, it's gonna be this, and that person would, like I say, balls are usually provided a lot of places, and it makes it simpler, because when you're done playing, you leave 4 balls on the court, you walk off. It just
And
speeds things up.
I agree
But
that,
other than that, you bring your own paddle, you sign up, you play.
right now, how many, like you said, if nobody's here at, excuse me, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was at the college trails today walking. I walk trails like all over. They're all posted, or most of them. You can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this. There's nobody there monitoring the college trails every day, but the policies are posted. Okay, we make a sign. which it has to, that sign has to go up for saying it was paid by CPC. Another thing, I think Emily's doing a good job getting it out to the seniors. As I said, it's not getting out to the general public. Yeah, it's adjacent to the senior center. Nothing against seniors. I'm a senior. I've gone to the classes and I plan to go tomorrow. It's not just for seniors. Word has to get out to everybody. So I think we need to put, yeah, we don't know how it's gonna go. So yeah, let it go a few weeks, get better weather to see. But we need to have some type of policy out there. Emily,
Thanks, Gina. Thanks for all the comments too. One of the suggestions from the Elder Affairs Commission and myself is to have a subcommittee amongst the two commissions. We have 3 representatives from the Elder Affairs Commission who are very excited about the sport, who will be playing the sport, and who have some great ideas about community involvement, which includes marketing and outreach, getting the word out, letting people know about schedules. So if you'd like to consider a Parks and Rec Commission, Elder Affairs Commission subcommittee, I think it would be a really valuable experience because the pickleball courts are brand new and they're right next door to the senior center. So it could be and will be an intergenerational sport. You know, you'll get the high school kids, you'll get the older kids, you'll get everybody in between, and it could be a really great way to socialize. And
I
you know,
think it will be.
thank you. That's what I was getting at, some type of ad hoc committee. We can decide who on Parks and Rec wants to be on it. Doesn't have to be all 5 of us, but we can work on that, appointing someone and getting together with your group too. To set policies, including, as you said, communication, getting the word out there.
that
Yep.
sounds great.
I don't see any problems. I just, like I said, I just think if you had a league and it was a few days a week, it would be beneficial. It'd be beneficial to the seniors too, because they could come over and they'd have a couple of free plays to learn, see if they wanted to get in there. And they'd be playing with probably betters than if, you know, they'll all match up each other. We had a good time. We let it, when it was me and Tony, you know, it was 3 of us and the seniors were there. We took a couple of the senior women that come down and play in the morning. And one of them played on with 3 of us and we let different people play and they fit in well. They didn't actually believe they could do it. And then they got playing and they realized that if you're playing with someone that they're covering for you, and they did it extremely well. And I think they liked that. And I kiddingly said to her when they went back to the other women, I said, she says she don't want to play with you no more. They thought that was pretty funny, but she wants to play with the guys. She ain't gonna come back to. But
Once you
y'all had
train
the
them,
ball.
Jimmy, you're gonna get, those are the future expert players. Watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think, you know, and whether or not you do it now or what, I'll predict that somewhere there'll be a league down the road because it just, when things don't mix up very well and people show up and they don't know what time to show and who's going to be there, players lineup is the one way to do it. If you can see when the person signs in and says they're supposed to be there, you'll see the names. It'll say Joe P. You know, say Joyce P. You'll know it's Joyce Pitter or Joe Pitter, and you know who's going. You'll know whether or not, you know, what time they're going there and everything like that. But that's more set up for a league type thing. But
Yeah, Jim, would
you
you
should
like
use it
to-
like tomorrow for practice, whatever, for the.
Jim, would you like to?
Let
be
me
on
can I
that?
ask a question here? Is the gentleman from Indigo here? Brooke?
Was.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. we're here.
Jen, yeah. Mr. Phelps, Maddie,
Oh.
and Mr. Anthony.
Okay, well, I think, yeah, we should,
I think
They-
we've talked
yeah,
enough about I think we talked enough about pickleball. I think we should get on to these guys that are waiting to talk with Indigo.
I think we're all set. I mean, like you say, Emily, you said subcommittee, whatever. I think it's fine. I think it's moving along great.
Okay,
Thanks for having us.
If you have some questions, we'll have to
okay,
solve.
but-
That's all.
okay, before everybody
Good
takes
call.
off, we move on. We should set who's going to be on this ad hoc committee from
Why don't we
us.
wait till after we get to golf,
Okay,
unless you
as
want to
long as we get
volunteer?
back to it.
Well, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, March 7th before we go to talk about the Indigo guys?
Motion. George
I
second.
I have one
Second,
correction.
second.
What, Jimmy?
I have one correction.
Okay,
I talked to Russ Ventura. I was trying to suggest to him that he does do it. And I was encouraging him, and he said that he doesn't think he'd be able to because of stuff he had to do in New Hampshire, and he figured on traveling a lot. I didn't, I wasn't discouraging him at all. But he if he wanted to do it, that'd be great. But he just said, so that's a correction. It said that, he said he didn't want to do it or something. He wanted to do it, but he didn't, after talking to me, I got the impression he didn't think it was fit into his schedule.
okay.
All right?
Yep, so a
Okay.
little correction there on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Other
I have one thing too. Under old business pickleball, it says Mr. Reedy commented that the reports look great. Should that, that the courts look great?
Does it make any difference?
Well, a report is different than a court.
I don't know.
Got it.
I think
Okay,
you said courts that night.
I think it should be courts too.
Yeah, you're right. Courts. Okay. So can we clean that up a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have something for clarification, but it's just
And
clarification.
the other thing Jimmy said, instead of saying he couldn't do it,
Okay,
What was that, Dan?
I was just saying, when Jimmy was talking about that gentleman said, it said, not that he didn't want to do it, it just was not able to do it, might be the best way to word that.
Sure.
At this time, not able to, right? Just to clean it up.
okay.
Okay, Brooke, can we clean those up?
We will. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do I hear a motion to approve the meetings with the changes that we just made?
Motion.
Seconded?
Second.
All in favor? Could we take a vote, Brooke?
Roll call. Mr. Riggi?
Yes.
Hello,
Second,
can
go
we
ahead.
have discussion? Because I just need clarification
Go
on
ahead.
something.
Yeah.
I just lost it. It was about the golf league. About, I think Tommy had asked who was running it. I scrolled up how I lost it. It said Indigo wanted the money to go through them, not through Parks and Rec, and they would pay the town a flat fee. I'm just confused on, just looking for clarification on what that was. They pay,
I think we can get that discussion when we get in,
Then-
talk about golf.
but
next.
Tommy, it's part of the minutes. So I just want to make
Oh,
sure the
okay.
minutes are clear.
Okay.
But I think tonight's minutes would clean that up. Gina pointed, I think, we were speculating last week because we didn't have an answer after meeting with
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Jim
Indigo
Small.
personnel, we'll have an
Don't know
answer.
what
and
he
be.
meant.
Yeah, so I think it'll be,
How about if I take it out altogether? Can you vote on the minutes if it's gone?
it was a discussion that was part of the meeting. I think you just leave it there because we didn't really vote on anything last, we was just, I don't know, I mean, we're just, why vote?
Okay,
For minutes
what
of
it
what- I
says
mean,
is
that's-
Mr.
that's
Reedy
not
asked
really-
who would be running the Thursday night league.
Just a rec-
Mr. Small replied that Mr. Simon said asked to continue to run it. He explained that Indigo wanted to run the receipts and not have the money go through Parks and Recreation.
Okay, I
Okay,
think
I
it's
get
kind of,
that. And it says Mr. Small noted that Indigo would pay the town a flat amount, and after a certain amount would split the money for the town. Does that have to do with the league? Or, and I know it can be clarified when we talk to
can I say
Indigo.
something?
What?
All right, it means instead of the money being mailed to Charlie collects $400 per person, puts it in recreation, then pays the golf course and everything. The money goes to them. It's their golf. The money will go to
Oh,
them,
I
and they'll
understand that, but
they'll
it said
pay for
pay the
the-
town a flat amount.
well, that's the look of their
It was not-
contract. They pay a certain amount a year, and then they pay a percentage once it goes over that amount.
But that has nothing to do with the leagues, correct?
Yes, it
That's
does.
what
The
I'm just
league
trying
is
to
money.
clarify, Jim.
I'm
Okay.
clarifying it for you. The league is people playing golf on their golf course.
Right?
And I,
So that's
if I
it.
may- If
They
I
want the
may, I
money
think
paid to them.
Jim Small, when he was talking about the other stuff, I think was after the league discussion was done. I'm not speaking for Jim because he's not here, but I think, again, that was just all minutes are is just a recording of what was said. And there was no vote taken on that, so it's not gonna bind it. I don't believe.
Right.
But why don't we just hold off? Stop, hold on. Let's hold off on voting on these minutes till Jimmy gets back and we'll.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Can we get into the golf course update then?
Sorry, you can't do it. Because there's a motion on the floor, I need a motion to
we can-
table this.
We can vote on these minutes, the May 7th, March 7th, has to be putting words in. Jim's-
There's a vote on the table to vote on.
Well, I don't know if it's the person who made the motion, but
Right.
I think the person who made the motion has to rescind.
motion
the-
can rescind it.
Okay. Mr. Campbell and Mr. Riggi.
Rescind.
Okay.
Rescind.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry to be difficult, just looking for clarification. And I think as he said, it's two different things, but just looking for clarification there. Okay, sorry.
Okay, here is Mr. Phelps, who is the Vice President of Operations for Indigo. Maddie is Matt Fauerbach, the Director of Agronomy for Indigo. And everybody knows Mr. Anthony, right? Indigo and Scotland Links.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you all. I appreciate being able to join your meeting, and happy to answer any questions that come up. And thank you, Brooke, for the introduction. I'm Ryan Phelps, live in Connecticut, have worked for Indigo for 18 years. A PGA member, worked actually on Cape Cod for a bit. So was close to your market. And obviously, as you know, we started on March 3rd. And I've worked closely with Tony Salmonti and Michael Dutton and others, Lori and some others at the town of Bridgewater to make this as seamless of a transition as possible. But there's always, there's always things that come up as we're trying to kind of gain control of the place. Just to introduce Chris in a different way, Chris is the director of golf. So Chris is the main point of contact and the facility manager for all things Indigo Golf, Troon, and will report up to me. And we've been working diligently on just getting the community comfortable with Indigo, because I understand it's a big transition, right? A company comes in from out of town, and there's plenty of questions from employees to residents to leagues, and just anybody that has an emotional attachment to the golf course wants to make sure that it's being looked after, and and that their interests are going to be taken into consideration. So we're still in a learning phase, but I'm working with Chris to catch up as fast as possible. Tom Rio is the superintendent, so he was promoted to superintendent as Jim Small left to work with you all there at the town and the Parks and Rec department. Honestly, the update can go in a million ways. There's a lot going on, and a lot of it is just stuff that isn't very fun to talk about, which is IT and onboarding employees and getting people comfortable with our policies and procedures and handbooks and setting up bank accounts and doing the reconciliation. So Indigo owes the township, all of the money for anything that was there when we took over. So fuel in the tanks, chemicals in the sheds, inventory in the pro shop, things of that nature. So we've worked closely to kind of finalize that number. We're working on a rate review, which we're being, very, I would say surgical, which with our approach, we don't have a rate proposal for tonight, but we want to be, first and foremost, the residents, the taxpayers, the people that are funding the golf course that built it are the ones that need to be protected the most. The non-residents and the out-of-town play is where we think there may be some opportunity to increase revenues, which obviously help the town because we're in a revenue share arrangement where the more money the golf course makes, obviously, the more money the town of Bridgewater makes. So revenue is important. It's not the only thing, but town satisfaction and the ability for Indigo to become a part of the community is also equally as important, because we don't want the agreement for 5 years. We want it for 50 years. We're not going to do that if we, upset a bunch of the people that are close to the golf course. So that is really where we've been in the last, 31 days. Matt Fauerbach, who is driving on his way to Michigan, he lives in Delaware. He's the director of agronomy. He's worked for our company for about 20 years. Agronomy is all things turf grass outside. He works closely with the superintendents and also kind of overlaps into capital projects. So anything from a netting on the driving range to tree removal or plantings to Kemenford applications, that's kind of Matt's wheelhouse. And then, Chris and I will work closely with the operation. So this group is important because I'm sure there's a million opinions on, anything related to golf and our contract and anything else. And is all I can say is we're here. We've done this, a very, very similar arrangement at Falmouth Country Club in Falmouth, Massachusetts, which I'm sure most of you have been to or are familiar with. So we just wanted to come in and say hi. And that we're real people. We've got faces, names, emails. You can reach out to us. We're happy to engage. And although we are at a little bit of a distance, we're there quite often. We've been there 4 or 5 times in the past month, working with Chris to just get the systems up to speed. And I guess I'll pause at that. We would have a brief update on rounds and revenues. March is a little bit of a 50-50 on whether we're open, closed, how many rounds we're going to get. When the weather is nice, we're absolutely packed to the gills. And when it's snowing or raining or windy, it's a little bit different. So yeah. I'll pause and see if there are comments, questions for me, and then we can go and Chris can give a brief update, and then we can turn it back to you guys.
Yeah. You in charge of running Falmouth?
I'm sorry?
Were you in charge of running Falmouth?
I still am, but I was actually the GM there for a couple of seasons. Yeah, about 15 years ago.
Okay. Was that Casper at the time?
That was, Billy Casper Golf. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We've been through a couple of, Billy Casper was more family owned, if you will, owned by a few individuals. And then we were sold, which I think most of you know, to Troon at the end of 2020. So we're still in a little bit of a honeymoon period, believe it or not, with Troon, which operates 650 courses now in 29 countries. So it's a big outfit, but we're still local in the sense that what existed in Indigo pre-sale is still the team that you're seeing here on the call. And when Maddie's not in his car, you'll get to see his face too. But we're a little closer to this. Yeah.
Now, how much change have been the fees for Bridgewater residents from last year to this year up to now?
Yeah, so far 0. And there's even some provisions in the contract which which talk to what we're allowed to do. The only comment I would say, and this is really for the town to consider, is a lot's changed even since that contract was contemplated. So there is no question that if the town says we don't want a rate increase, there won't be a rate increase. But that is also impactful on the town side. And I think just given the rising costs, some inflation, costs of chemicals, which are mostly coming from overseas, fertilizers, I'm sure you're seeing it in your everyday lives. There is an opportunity or almost a need for most businesses to exercise increases in rate today more than ever, or else, when would you do it? Right. And so that's what we're struggling with. And that's struggle is a bad word. If every rate stays the same, everything's fine. We're moving forward. We're both going to be successful.
Now, who
But I
from the
think-
town, who from the town decides on the rates? Is it the Recreation Commission with the town manager, or is it just the town manager solo?
I'd love to give you a definite. I don't know the
Because
answer.
we're having
The
a lot of
meeting-
problems. We're having a lot of problems with the town charter
Okay.
saying who is really in charge of the golf course.
Yeah. So I think given that it's a lease arrangement, the contract is probably right. You never go to a contract until you're trying to get divorced. So I don't want to pull up the contract very often. But I think that's the baseline, right? And I think there's language in there where fees can raise 3% a year, which when you're talking $30 and $40 golf, that's fairly insignificant, right? It's going to be $1 or $2. And I will tell you, if you look at Falmouth as a model, when we took over in 2005, rates have increased less than a handful of dollars in the last 15 years. So that's not our model. Is come in, take over, raise the rates, price all the locals out, and then make money some other way. It's through volume and it's through making repeat business and people happy. I don't know, Michael, I don't know your answer. I think it probably rests with the town.
Town manager?
Or yes, somewhere in the town administration or whatever the makeup of whoever the ruling body is, whether that's a single town manager. I'm still kind of trying to understand because every municipality has a little different governing body, but the input on this group by this group would be critical to us as well. So it could impact our thoughts. I only brought up the rates just to say that we want to have a conversation just looking at any rate as we would at any golf course anytime we take over, whether they're too high or too low, just to make sure they're optimized. But the one thing I can tell you we would be protective about is the residents. Right? The most likely scenario is we'll want to talk about the non-resident play and some of the out-of-town play that's in there when the demand is so high for golf, kind of in this post-COVID boom that golf is seeing that nobody really anticipated. To get, frankly, the more money we can make from out-of-towners, the more we can subsidize or keep the rate flat or lower the resident rate. So it's just something to make sense, that we should look at. But I don't anticipate any dramatic fluctuations in rate really at all. I mean, the golf course was fully functional before we leased it. So it's not a broken product. It's not, something that's going to dramatically change one way or the other. We didn't come with a truck full of employees and Indigo outfits and, run over there. I mean, Chris is our guy and the staff that you recognize if you're a golfer is still there. And that's the way we work. I mean, he knows more than I do on this call and probably all of you do as well, as just to who our customers are and what we need to tackle. What I think we can offer just through scale is a better system of accounting, a lighter burden on some of the town benefits, pensions, things like that no longer exist in the Indigo structure. And then just knowledge about how to price golf, what are our hours of operation, how do we best achieve maximum utilization, how do we capitalize on our buying power for large purchases like golf carts and equipment. which we're obviously going to be able to purchase at a much reduced rate. But the truth is, it's still just a really nice golf course, and people like to have fun and go play out there. I don't think the average person will know if Indigo manages the golf course or the town of Bridgewater manages the golf course. I think that's the idea, is where there's not a Troon flag out there or an Indigo flag. It's still supposed to feel like your local golf course where people feel comfortable to come and play.
Hey, Ryan, just a couple of questions to you and Chris. Maybe both of you can answer. First is, I think you heard our conversation about the league, the Thursday night league that we run.
Yep.
Are there any new things that are going to be changing? I know like the handicap and so forth was being done. Chris, were you doing the handicap before?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you-
let Chris take this. He can fully answer your question.
Okay,
I know
and I
exactly
have
where
one
you're
other
going.
issue, one other question, not an issue, but just a question. For years, we were responsible running the golf course, and we used to use their equipment. The rec would use the equipment for aerating the ball fields. Is that still viable to ask?
No.
So let me have Chris answer the league question, and then I'm gonna probably turn it over to Maddie, and we might not know the answer to your second question, but I think we can get there. So Chris, why don't you
Okay.
handle the league? Because I know it's really simple, and I think everybody will get a better understanding.
Yeah, so as far as the Thursday Night League is concerned, nothing is really changing except the golf course is running it.
Okay.
So I'm taking over the operations from what Charlie was doing. So everything is basically in-house. It's a old Scotland Links run golf league now. But besides that, nothing else is changing. Not the play structure, amount of players, any of that. That's all staying the same.
Good.
Yeah, and so I think basically just instead of the money going to the town and then going to the golf course, it's just going to the golf course, which, to Gina's point, ultimately is part of the total revenue package, which we start sharing when we hit certain thresholds. So it's the same, the more league members we have, the more revenue we'll have, the more profit the town can make as well. Matt, I know you're driving, but and you're on mute, but do we have any insight into the second question about sharing equipment or anything with that?
We do. And again, don't take this as definitive. We now have all of the equipment. We are either going to continue to pay the lease on the equipment or purchase the equipment outright. And the town has taken their transportation, their truck, and their trailer away from the golf course. So we made it, somewhat clear that we didn't want our employees to be pulling double duty unless the town requested it and required it. And I think they came to the determination that for all the myriad of reasons that you're talking about charging for pickleball, right? Just the off chance that somebody gets into a fender bender while driving the town truck and they're no longer a town employee, or the sprayer or the airifier gets damaged while being used on the town property and not at the golf course. All those consequences and repercussions. So we're trying to keep it as segregated as possible, but knowing that we're in a partnership, and so if there's an immediate need and we can help fill a gap, we will do what we can. And I don't know that answers your question.
I understand.
Matt, you're really hard
100%.
to hear. You're kind of cutting in and
Yeah,
out, but
right.
I think they got that point, which is basically
I think Matt's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Since, how would improvements on the golf course go for like the next 5 years? We had plans to possibly put a toilet, brick, building behind the fifth tee and bring the water in across the seventh fairway. And we were looking into putting solar panels on the cart barn and maybe even canopy in the parking lot. How would that work now with the Troon contract or Indigo contract?
Capital will be an ongoing discussion between us and the town, and we will formulate a short-term and long-term capital plan, and we can certainly use whatever you have in place as a starting point. And we'll do our best to identify projects that'll have an asset preservation quality, potentially a return on investment quality, and even a environmental and social benefit quality. So we'll be working with the town to prioritize our capital spend, and the goal is that money generated from the proceeds of the facility will go into an annual capital contribution, along with other revenue share components could be considered to book against bigger ticket items.
I know that excuse me, private industry has a hand up when it comes to getting grants for solar and stuff like that towns don't get. You get tax benefits and things like that for it. So maybe would be a benefit in the long run. There's not a lot of stuff out there for towns to get money for energy or solar or stuff like that.
That's true, except you still own the property.
So
that's
it's
what makes
not
that
who pays the
conversation a
bill?
little challenging. It's not who pays the bill, it's who owns the property.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, have you decided on what you're gonna do for lessons? I noticed that the two people's names are still on the website.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So we're still evaluating that. I think the idea of having an instructor that's a employee of the club is attractive. I know that there's a couple, I guess I'll call them private contractors or local professionals or instructors that are teaching. I'm just gonna have to work with Chris and determine what, if any, path forward is with them, or if we do something different. But we'd like to have instruction be a part of our suite of offerings, but I couldn't answer. I've never met or talked to.
I just know that they're waiting to find out what's happening.
Yeah.
So if you could, let them know what's happening sooner than later. And the reason we ended up like that is we were paying a pro and he was given the lessons, and we needed that money at the time.
Mhm.
So, all right, that's it for me.
Okay, I don't have a lot of questions. I just like to welcome you folks to our golf course, and I look forward to a good partnership. And
Thank
Chris,
you.
I need to be calling you one of these days too, so maybe tomorrow. But welcome.
Thank you. We're happy to be there. I think the first year will be a learning curve for everyone. But the biggest thing we're really trying to come across with is we are a corporation, but we're also just individual people. And the corporate thing kind of hides over here, and we use that when we need it, but it's me and it's Maddie, and you'll meet him, and it's Chris and Tom and the same people that you're used to. So, when we have issues or trouble or a question or a comment, you come straight to me, and, I'm not that far away, and if I need to be out there, if this wasn't on Zoom, I'd be there in person to meet you all too. So, happy to be associated with Bridgewater. And right now I think it's just getting people comfortable with a little bit of change, which always comes with a little trepidation, but I think we're working through that as best we can.
I think something that you might keep in the back of your mind is there were a lot of volunteers that built the clubhouse that have an emotional tie
Built the course.
into the course and into the clubhouse. And we put a lot of effort and time into things, and we want it to be real successful and great for the town as well. You know, we have a lot invested in it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I can tell by the staff. I mean, on day one when we were there are a lot of fun individuals at that place. A lot of retirees who've probably been around there a long time and had a lot of information, and they care about the place. So I appreciate that comment. I definitely can feel that.
I mean, the guy that you're replacing, Charlie Simons, just was so unselfish and so caring to get things done. And as a recreation commissioner, he was just he's hard to replace, you know, especially with how much affection he had for the golf course.
Yeah.
I would like to make one suggestion. I'm talking about solar. Carlton Hunt, who's on the call, excuse me, on the Zoom right now, has done a lot with solar for the town of Bridgewater. Before you guys leave, Mike, is it okay if Carlton just touches base on that?
Sure, I think Jimmy Campbell has a lot of solar from the past too.
Okay, so
Thank you, Mike. My name's Carlton Hunt. I live in Bridgewater, 35 years. I chair the Energy Committee here in town. And any discussions around energy, I would request that the Energy Committee be engaged in it. We have proposed and tried to get solar on the, and I understand it's a facility issue, it's a town issue, but I'm willing to work with you to get solar on the parking lot. That's one of the few places in town I think we can get solar. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and I hope we can do this more quickly, there is a young inventor in town that has developed a small wind system that could be installed at the charging barn, and his estimates are that he can cover all the charging costs with his wind at that station plus more, which is this small unit. It's about 6 feet by 6 feet. It put it about 50 feet in the air. It harvests winds at 5 miles an hour and up. And I think it would be really great for you guys to get together with us and talk about the ability to maybe get that. It's a cost savings. It's, you know, it's maybe $20,000, $25,000 up front, but in the long term, you're going to pay for all of the charging at that location, plus other places, wells, et cetera. So I would just encourage you to engage the Energy Committee through the town manager and others, and maybe we can have something happen really positive in the energy area. I know Jim Campbell has been very, and I pushed on it hard too, and I think this is now an opportunity for you guys to cut your costs through an energy issue. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Well, that doesn't sound like a bad idea to us either. So we'll work through Chris to get in touch and try to set up a meeting. And there is some capital money out there from both parties that'll be set aside. So maybe that's a good place to spend, some of our first dollars. So appreciate that.
Jimmy Campbell, do you have any history on the wanting to get the cart barn with solar panels?
Yeah, well, there's a place in Canton. It's well, the solar panels in the parking lot are two different things. They're canopies on the parking lot that you park your car under, and they generate a lot. They did it a few places in Massachusetts, worked out really well. And Carlton would have the information on that because I had gone to a meeting. But I know Jim Smalley had the wind studies for the area because we were looking at putting a wind thing over on the driving range. And on the cart barn, the sun comes right over the top of it. So it's a perfect place for solar. But like you say, just, I don't even know if you would have to turn it you know, you need to change it from direct current back if you're charging batteries, who knows? But anyway, I'm sure they have a lot of things to handle. And working with the energy committee would be the smart thing to do. So,
Great.
But we will.
yep.
Jim, can I just say one more thing before you
Yep.
go? This particular small wind unit that I'm talking about
Yeah.
actually provides any kind of current you want, direct, AC, DC, 220, 110, whatever you need. It's completely, it shuts itself down at too high a wind and that kind of thing. And I'm thinking, as any committee chair, I'm happy to, if I get an email for Ryan or somebody there, I can send a connection to that gentleman that has developed it, if you so wish.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I will, I don't know if Brooke can send you my email or I can.
Sure.
Okay.
That'd be great. I'll CC Michael Dutton on it and that kind of thing, because he's been engaged with this.
Good.
We've walked the site. We actually have a place to install it right by the barn. Anyway, I'm not going to take any more of your time right now. Thanks.
Okay. Appreciate it.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
just want to welcome Ryan and Matt, to Bridgewater. Like everybody said, it's, town has invested a lot of, flood equity, if you will. Very simple. Mine's more of a procedural question. I think you might have touched on it, Ryan, but this board, the Recreation Commission, I don't foresee anything right now, but hypothetically, I guess if the townspeople will come to us with issues or concerns. So I guess I'm looking for like a line of communication. Should we go to Chris first if we as a board have a concern or an issue? Or should we go to Mike?
I think so.
I don't know if you can answer that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably still going to the town is the best funnel right now. I mean, I'd like to get to a point where if something comes to this committee between you all and myself and Chris, we can figure it out, right? We might not love the answer, but we're gonna figure it out. And I can't even think of something, but we still work for you all. I mean, our lease is only 5 years, so that's kind of the way we see it as well. I would say if something comes up tomorrow, I would go to Mike and have that disseminated. If it's procedural and small and it's about a league or something day to day, that's Chris every time. If it's bigger than that, certainly get me involved, but probably we all just need a little more direction on that, because I know there's a former golf committee that may still somewhat exist. I have not met with them. There's this committee, and I think Jim Small is going to be a big liaison for us because he's been out there and lived it, and will probably help direct things as we go forward, or I'm hoping, but I don't have a great answer for that. But I don't want there to be no communication. So I would say, in lieu of having a great answer, I would
You're frozen.
It cut out, Dan.
You also don't want streamline this some way, whether we have it in place not off here, but I just think if we can streamline it for everybody, I think.
No, that's fair. And I'll talk to Tony and Michael to try to understand what that is as well, because if we don't know who we should be talking to, that's not going to end well for anybody. So I'll figure that out too, and try to communicate with the group what I find out.
I would like to, Mike mentioned.
Questions or concerns moving forward?
Yep. Sorry, Danny. Go ahead. No, I think Mike mentioned it before, the golf commission, which is still in effect. I don't know if you've touched base with them at all, or.
I know the answer is no.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the things we're going to be discussing later in the meeting is the town charter and the administrative code it still says there's a golf commission out there. Whether that changes, I don't know. I don't think any of us know. But I just hate to see that group that's worked so hard for the betterment of the course to be not included in anything.
Mhm.
But just a suggestion.
Yeah, I think we plan to meet with them at you know, at any point that's introduced. I haven't been introduced to that group yet, but and just being respectful that the scenario of a lease arrangement is a little different, where we're, you know, it's Indigo's economics now on the line. So there's certain things that might be, if we were just managing it on behalf of the town, you make every decision. And in this scenario, it's a little more of a mutual decision, but we all have to end up happy at the end of the day. So the only interest I have is in 5 years, everybody on this call, the golf committee, Mike, Tony, Lori, whoever is involved says this is a good thing, we want to keep doing it. And I don't think we get there unless you all are happy with the direction and the returns that the town sees. So yeah, that's a good idea. As soon as I'm introduced to them, we'll make a point to say hello and meet with them, probably maybe hopefully in person at the golf course.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Campbell, I can do that as well if you want. Do you want to, should we talk about that later?
Talk about what later?
The golf commission, I can send, I might still have their contact information.
Yeah, I just talked to John Muir and he knew that, and Dennis Weingartner, neither one of them even knew that Troon had taken over the golf course. So after working for 24 years on it, and you know, it's they weren't too happy with, you know, neither am I. You know, I just, and it's not, want to make it clear, it's not, I'm not upset at Indigo or anything at all. They bid on a contract and they got it. I'm upset at the way the town did it. So, you know, I wish him good luck in the future. He's got the contract for 5 years, so we'll have to help him do the best he can.
Well, it might have been nice if the town had let the golf commission know that the new form of government dissipated them. And they have no ability to have
Yeah.
anything to say about the golf course. As well as the town charter says that we are supposed to be a hearing company to anything that's done at the golf course, and we weren't even contacted.
Well, it's like I say, it's
The new form of government.
you know, we looked at
That's not
the,
Indigo's problem right now.
no,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. We missed, you know, nice enough to come to the meeting.
Yep, I think it's
You know, we'll
great.
do anything we can to help. We, it's just funny that the town never utilized, you know, maybe 140 years of experience. We already had a management company for 2 years, and I remember that contract, and they did very well. Cochran, Jennison, Mullins, wasn't anything wrong with it. It's just how it was. So anyway, it's water over the dam now. And if
Right.
there's something we can do to help, we should do it to help. And that's about it.
You have to understand, Ryan, we've been there since the first scoop of dirt was picked up back, how many years ago, Jim?
97, the course opened. Really started building
Well-
about 3 or 4 years before that. And
Yeah.
it was about 5, 6 years before that, we had 29 people on the golf commission. Split them into 3 groups, finance, building. So anyway, raised the money ourselves, well, for a bond payment. And the town never put a nickel into the golf course, so.
Look, so there's a lot of motion involved when they talk about moving a golf course out of control of the town. But it's not, as I said, it's not because of Indigo, it's just the process.
Yeah.
Another suggestion, I'm just full of suggestions tonight. This is, if the course opened in 97, this is the 25th year. I believe it opened in August was the first round, because I think I came back from New Hampshire for it. The suggestion is to have a tournament marking the 25th year of the golf course. I just have all these suggestions tonight.
It could be a great suggestion. So that's we actually had a difficult time understanding exactly when the course was open, because we were hearing a few different dates. So that was helpful to hear 97 as the official. And yeah, we'll take a look at that. Anything we can do in that manner. But all the town leagues and thing. I mean, I'm hopeful that this is just a public-private partnership where there's a you can take what we may be a little more agile to do than a municipality and benefit from that and return steady, consistent income to the town, where we can complete needed capital projects with guidance from our firm to help, move it in a better direction. And that's all I can say. And James and, everyone, I understand. And, that's, as you said, that's kind of in the past. So we're here and we're going to figure it out. And we're going to make everybody a raving fan in 5 years. Just tell you that. That's my goal.
Great. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming in and meeting with us. And we wish that the town and Indigo do well in this whole operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Can we just hear from Chris? You had mentioned before that he would talk about rounds and how it's going. I know the weather hasn't been the best some days.
Yeah, I mean, we've been open for about a month now. I think March 7th was the first day that we reopened after a big snowstorm, and we've been, fairly consistent with, players coming out when the weather allows. We haven't done in March as well as last March, but the weather hasn't been as good. It's been quite rainy and wet, and I'd rather take that in the wintertime than May through September. So we'll save the rain for now and save the sunshine for later. But overall, we're doing well. As Ryan said, we're just a lot of transitional stuff, especially for the staff. Just like learning new policies, procedures, different systems. But everyone has returned from last year's staff, and everyone seems to be happy. So that's the big thing right now. So overall, we're doing well.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, should we give you back your time? I know you got some more things on the agenda.
Thanks again for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
Welcome.
Remember, there's a basketball game at 9:40.
I know. Watching the clock.
All right, take care, guys.
Okay, Maddie, drive carefully.
Gina, did you
Thank
hear
you
that?
all.
The basketball game at
Matt, thank
9:40,
you.
Gina?
What was that, Mike?
I said, there's a basketball game at 9:40 we all want to watch?
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know. I was
Motion to
rooting
adjourn.
for Providence College, but they've been gone out of it for a bit.
okay. All right, thank you, Drew.
Hey, just a point,
Yeah,
the former
I-
Bridgewater coach did pretty good, huh?
Which team?
Providence.
That's right. Okay. My
Well,
brain
Eddie
was on-
Eddie Cooley, yeah.
already jumping
Former
into
teacher at
something
Bridgewater.
else.
Former teacher, won 27 games this year.
And he did a student teacher under Dan Buron. Dan taught him everything he knows.
There you go. If you get a chance to, on YouTube, look at his speech to the boys afterwards. Did a great job.
A great guy.
I
Nice
think
speech.
Danny wrote it.
Yeah, well, he could have. Danny's given some good ones. I like when he tells them, the players, to act like they've done it before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
do that.
He still
Okay.
never read our back.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in for our chair for a second. If you guys want to watch the basketball game, We gotta move on. Sorry, Mike.
Thank you.
Gina, I thought
Um,
you were the chairperson.
What, Danny?
I thought you were the chair. No, I thought.
No, I
maybe
just help
organized.
Mike out sometimes.
He needs
Oh.
help. Make sure that's in the minutes, Brooke. Michael does need a lot of help. I made a motion a minute ago, Mr. Chairman, and nobody, I guess nobody seconded it.
What was
The
it?
motion to adjourn. I said motion to adjourn.
No, no. Okay,
Okay.
Mike, moving on.
Are we done with the pickleball update? I think we're
Um,
gonna see how things work out there.
That's
I
it.
think that to make this official, that we want a ad hoc committee, I think we should make it a motion. So it's in the records, that's what we're gonna do, motion second and vote on it to appoint a ad hoc committee to meet with.
Okay. Do I hear a motion about forming an ad hoc committee to go over the procedural?
No,
At the
I
pickleball
wouldn't
court?
use procedural, Mike.
uh,
I think I would use, I think we're doing a study to see, do we want to start a league, not a procedural, because procedural, I
Okay,
think.
I'm sorry.
How
Well,
we
it's,
do things,
Tom,
just
it's
me
not just
picking.
a league, like a league, how it should be. If people should pay, if there should be a league, if Bridgewater people should get priority. I think it's just looking at all the policies.
Hey,
Yeah, I'd like to say something about the league thing. I don't think you have to vote on that. I think if someone came up to you 2 weeks from now and said, I'd like to have a league down at the Bridgewater pickleball court, you would deal with it then.
Okay,
I mean,
Yeah,
you can
Jim,
say you
Mike-
can say that you think it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I don't think you should vote it.
Point of information.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, there was a motion to form an ad hoc. If we don't form the ad hoc, we don't have to discuss this, so.
Okay,
let's Stick
I
with the
agree.
motion then, but I
Mhm.
think, but we also, and I would, whoever made that motion, I would second it just for point of discussion, because we gotta
Mhm.
decide who's gonna be
I'll-
on this ad hoc, not just three of us can. But it's gotta be maybe
Right.
the elder affairs, and I mean.
I'll
uh,
make
know,
the motion
don't-
to form our ad hoc committee to
discuss.
discuss policies, which would
Policy
include,
changes for the pickleball
Yeah.
court.
discuss policies for the pickleball courts.
Okay,
And part of that ad hoc committee would.
there's a
be-
motion on the
Second,
table, right?
Yep.
There's a motion, so I'll motion, I'll second the
I just
motion.
seconded it.
okay. Brooke, do you
So
want to take a
discussion.
vote?
No,
Yeah,
no, not yet. We
No, not
would
yet.
have it for discussion.
Yeah, any discussion?
Yeah.
Vote on
I-
it, for
Are we
discussion.
using the right terminology? You're saying league. The one in Lakeville wasn't a league. It was more like you go and you put your name up. I never played in a league. It was more like organized.
You're
play.
thinking a league like a tournament area. All right, you say club,
Okay,
Right, but again, point of information,
team.
we just made a motion to form an ad hoc committee. Let's decide who's gonna be on this ad hoc. Like, is it one from rec, one from elder affairs, one at large? I mean.
She said
and
she
let
had
those
3 already.
People come up.
Mhm.
What do we
I
have?
think there should be,
Three
my
of-
thought is 2 of us,
She said there's 3 of them.
right? And there can be
She
2
asked
of
for
us.
3 of us.
okay.
But-
Can I
Okay,
just
there
say,
could be 3 of
if
us.
they've never played before and they have no idea and they're starting to organize this, how are they going to organize it? They've never done it before.
Well, Tommy, that's
Joe
all
Pitter's
part of
doing
it.
it. Then
That's
I
all part of
understand.
what's gonna be studied.
Okay. I'm just
My,
throwing it out there.
my interpretation of it, my intent.
Okay.
And I think, Jim, to
Under
answer your-
discussion?
Sure,
Uh,
sorry, Mike.
This is what,
Keep
no, that's all right.
jumping in. I'm used
This
to
is what I try to
CPC.
do with Bruce, Tony, Joe Pitta, Bob Hall, Bob Sergio. Those are guys that played before and they played in a league. They played in multiple leagues. So I asked them to do it. And we're at where we're at. So
I would say this, Bob Hall's a great guy. I've known him for 20, 40 years,
Yeah.
but he's from Lakeville. Well, why are we going to have a ad hoc committee with a guy from another town?
because
can't vote
first
him
of all,
on.
they didn't know if Lakeville was gonna go this year. Because Lakeville was asking for more money and less court time. So he might have been looking for a place to go anyway. Number two, if you play on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in Lakeville, they could have a league Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday in Bridgewater.
I'm
I
not
don't care.
positive. I'm
Once
not
again, it was
positive,
just,
but I'm sorry, Jim.
I was just gonna say, I think we're voting for this, so it's a good idea. Any of you 4 people want to be on this committee?
Dina does.
If we have
One.
no others, I will. I think there should be 2 of us though.
And Danny knows, Danny wants to be on it.
I'll be honest, I don't know anything about pickleball. I'm just more
Danny, I
concerned
didn't know
about,
anything about pickleball till 2 weeks ago. And I still don't know much, but okay. And
You know about fair play. That's all you gotta know.
right, and I think too, if we have our,
I just want to preserve.
Mhm.
No,
okay, do we want to
Ricky,
have
Can't hear you.
somebody like
Yeah.
one of the guys that Jim
Maybe I'll-
mentioned? I'm not
Please.
sure if they have to be from Bridgewater or not to be on our ad hoc committee.
Here's the thing. This is just like the golf, this is just like everything.
But we lost Danny.
Gone.
Lost Dan, and he wasn't coming through anyway. Here he is.
Go ahead, Dan.
I don't, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I don't know, I'm just saying before, it's like recreation in the town, put the money up to get these built. When all the complaints start coming forward, they're gonna come to us, just like the golf course. We didn't know that was happening. I just think we gotta get a handle on this, because this is a positive for the town, but
Mm-hmm.
Austin.
I agree.
now, and I just think it should be, for the elder affairs, maybe they could suggest, has already got their hands in on this, and I just think the rec department, Park and Recreation is the one that put that in there, those courts up, and we should have more say in what's going on there. That's just my opinion.
Right, and
Right.
ultimately, it is Park and Rec that decides it. It's not the senior center, it's not elder affairs, it's not the town manager. Ultimately, it's Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we want to delegate Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9-11 for the senior center to use to run lessons and a league, that's fine, but
Well, the senior center is running lessons tomorrow morning at 9
it
o'clock.
should come to
So
us. I'm getting tired of people. I know they are, and I'm gonna go, Jimmy, but I'm saying moving forward, when this starts.
I have thoughts that are good for the discussion too, but I
Someone's
agree
gonna get
with
a handle
Danny.
on it, and it should go,
Yeah.
they're gonna blame us, and.
Yeah.
Why don't we keep it among ourselves then? Can we meet a couple of times, bring in a couple other guys who want to join in? Can we do that? Is that possible, Jim? What's your feelings?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm in the middle of Charlie called me and said Emily needed someone to give lessons. Would I give lessons on Tuesday afternoons? So I said, yeah. So I called Tony and I called Bob, and next thing I know, Tony's giving lessons for the senior center. I don't know what's going on. I want,
Is he charging?
I don't have the faintest idea what's going on. He probably isn't.
Okay,
I
good.
thought it was a good fit because he's down at Pickles, and if someone wanted to go down there and take a lesson, they could, but he wouldn't be looking for something in Bridgewater was my thought. You know, I don't, I mean,
Okay,
he just
so,
probably, she asked him and he said, yeah, which is a good thing to do. I
and
just feel like we're losing, like Danny says, is 100% true. It's all of a sudden, to be honest, it's probably my fault, because when I got the call from someone on the Elderly Affairs Committee and they said, can you tell me who's running the pickleball courts? And I said, well, 4.5 years ago when we started to build them, it was the Rec Commission. And when we built them and raised the money, it was the Rec Commission. CPC helped us out with the money. And then we went out there and did the construction, was the Rec Commission. And now that's all built, I guess Mike Dutton.
Yeah, but
That's how it is.
are they officially open yet? I mean, someone goes down there tomorrow and gets hurt. Are they even officially?
Two people
under
got
the
hurt during the
purview?
two people got hurt during the senior lessons. One took
Yeah.
a nice face plant and the other one hurt their wrist or something. And they went into the senior center and filled out a form saying they got injured. And those are the things, like I said, that you have to have some control over. Who's gonna, we now have a shed down there from Chapin's with the lock on it. Who's gonna have the keys to the shed?
okay,
Who's gonna have anything? Charlie bought some balls and some paddles and we're letting the seniors use them. And there's plans for a pavilion down there and we're gonna put up a windscreen all the way around the whole thing. So I don't know. I don't know where we're at.
okay, we have
I think
a
it's all right.
motion. We have a motion on the floor. I agree with Danny wholeheartedly. It's something I've been stressing for ages. We're just losing control of everything and we need to try to take control back, or we need to just say, what's the sense of our whole commission? So
Once again, you don't need someone 2 weeks from now, Danny can say, I'd like to run a league down there. Come to the Rec Commission, say, I'll give you $1,000. I'm gonna collect $60 a head off the people. And we're gonna keep 10 and give you 50. And the $10 is gonna go for, we're gonna have a pizza night. We're gonna have this, we're gonna have that. That person can go out and buy shirts, whatever. They can do whatever they want to do. And the people can have a lot of fun. And it would work. It doesn't have to be set in stone right now. If it doesn't happen the next few weeks, it still can happen.
we need to have some type of policy.
All right, and I'm fine with that.
My thought, I
don't think we're at odds with Emily yet, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think we're at odds at the senior center. I think they're really excited about this and they want to play. I don't think they can do it themselves.
Right. And I wasn't suggesting that we were. I just think that I agree with you.
No, I know that.
Combine our
I got
efforts
it.
and make sure we're taking care of our people, you know, and the senior center is our people too, that, you know, and
Absolutely.
maybe we block off times, you know, in the rec.
Right. So
I know when I was down in Falmouth looking, certain days of the week, certain groups in town had use of those, you know, and they were joint tennis and pickle. So a couple hours was tennis, a couple hours a day was pickleball, but it was all spelled out. I think the park and recreations.
Right.
The ones.
I agree. It needs to be spelled out.
And I think the senior center should get first dibs on what days they want, and fair enough.
Yeah, that's something, if this motion passes, it's something for the committee to come up with recommended policies, but ultimately it's us as Park and Rec that approve them. It's not the senior center that says, this is what we're doing. They're park and rec courts. They're paid for through park and rec, through capital, through community preservation. They were paid by recreation. They weren't built by the senior center. I think Emily's doing a great job with them. I went to, I think 3 of the lessons, and I did okay once Jim compared it to golf for me, how to swing.
Danny, do you want to
Paddle.
make a motion that we can vote on?
We have a motion on the floor and seconded to form our ad hoc committee, and with the senior center, Danny and I would be park and rec representatives on it.
Well, I mean, I will, I mean, I don't know if Jim wants to do it being in the pickleball or Tommy know it a little bit better than I do, but
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't matter
pass.
to me.
I'm on a bad streak. They tore down my school and they sold my golf course.
You are,
I'm
pretty
out.
soon they're gonna put bouncy balls in the pickleball courts and make it a giant bouncy house.
You sound
You
like
are
Ronnie
on a- you are on a
Dangerfield.
good
I
run.
get
Jimmy,
no
I feel bad
respect.
for you.
Get no respect.
Yeah, okay, so I say move the question.
I think I'm in Jim's field. I really don't, it doesn't matter to me. However we want to do it. I just think as soon as you charge money, so as soon as you charge
What?
money, you better have a better product. But I do think what Danny says, the town should keep control. We should keep control of it. It
I
can't
agree.
be lost control. No way.
Mhm. Yep,
Okay.
okay.
I honestly think it's,
But again, I'm not sure of an ad hoc committee right now. Do we have the ability to do that? Or should just one of us go down and meet with Emily and Mike Dutton? I don't know.
I've met with Emily 3 or 4
right,
times.
Don't
we
bring
can
Mike
set up
Dutton
a
in
ad
this.
hoc committee without the town manager's approval.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
met with Emily and Charlie. Me and Charlie met with Emily 3 or 4
Let's
times.
back- Maybe,
I
maybe we
offered to
wait
do
till
the
next-
lessons. I offered to help the seniors. We offered to
Okay.
do all that, and we're doing it. I
All right,
just don't know
before
why people think it has to be free all 70 hours of the week, that you can't give up 15 hours for, I say
Okay,
league.
these are all great suggestions.
here's- I'm gonna,
Again, it's something for if the motion passes, there are all things for the ad hoc committee to look at.
Right.
I'm
So,
gonna-
I would
before-
say-
I'm gonna- if I could say one thing, I'm gonna actually probably vote against this motion right now, and not that I don't think it's a good idea. But I think Jim Smalley, when he gets back, the, director of Park and Recs, and maybe with one of us, just to get some things, and then come back to us.
You know what,
Um,
Dan? You're
and
100%
then
sure,
set up-
because knows this is gonna all fall on him.
Yeah,
When
You
there's
know-
a problem down there, he's gonna get the call, not me, not you. It's
exactly.
gonna
So I
be
think
him.
he
When the
gets
when the
back
shed's
into it-
closed and they wanna get something, it's gonna be him. When
When-
someone got injured and they wanna know
Yeah.
why something happened, it's gonna be him.
Here's the other-
Good point. Very good point.
You know,
Who's picking up the
Do you
trash?
want
The
to
trash
hold
can-
off
the
till,
barrels down there. Is he, I mean, there's a lot of,
as far as the senior center, it's gonna be their bathroom. It's gonna be their defibrillator. It's gonna be their whatever, so.
Okay, but what happens on the weekend? What happens like at the tenant, any recreational facility has the same problem. Down the kids down at the courts in Scotland, old Scotland, what do they do? What does anyone do when they have to go to,
okay, we need to, because we still have a bunch of stuff to go over. Would you rather hold off for a month and wait for Smalley to come back?
Molly,
his
Joe
input.
Pitter, and the people from Florida.
yeah.
when
I
are they
guess-
coming back?
I don't know as a board if we can make a vote here and tell Jim Smallman when he gets back, he needs to go down and meet with Emily.
No,
And
no,
come back to
it's-
us. I don't know.
I don't think we have a problem with Emily. I just
I
don't
don't- I
think,
don't
Saying
have
we
a
do,
We
Jim.
need
I'm
someone-
saying-
we
Yeah,
need
we
someone
are-
that
we
wants
are-
to run a league
Again,
or
Jim,
collect money
We're
and run
spinning
a
on
league.
wheels here as usual. I'm not saying.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it again. I don't have a problem with Emily. I'm saying that the director of Park and Recs should meet with the director of the senior center, and they should work it out and report back to the respective boards. That's all.
Okay.
You know.
Yep.
he
I-
can be,
you know,
he can be,
We're 1 of 5, so let's have a vote. There's a motion on
Okay.
the floor. If we're gonna vote, we're gonna vote. But we haven't even decided
Okay.
who members of this ad hoc committee are, so.
okay, that was part of my motion on. It should include a couple of, one or two
Why
of us.
just vote?
Okay.
Again,
So
and then we'll
Danny
vote.
just said he didn't, we hadn't said who was on it. That
The senior
was it.
center is
Emily
not,
suggested
I agree with,
Emily.
I think, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Senior center
Emily,
is,
and she said she had a couple of people.
senior center isn't the problem. The people there,
It's
okay,
not.
they're
We
all
need
seniors
to
here.
have
We're all seniors,
policies.
but they're not the problem, because they're
They're
not gonna be
not
playing the time everyone else is playing. It's just not gonna be. It's just not gonna be a
I have
hassle.
no problem with the senior center. I want policies. I
I
want
just
to
want us to
know.
run it.
I
Okay,
want it set
I'm done.
that if somebody wants to form a league, how do they form a league? We
Okay,
just need
wait till Jim
policies out
Small
there.
gets there.
And that's the intent of my motion. So I say call for a vote. You either like the motion or you don't like the motion. Mr. Chairman,
Call for a vote on Gina's motion here.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Riggi, Mr.
I'm not
Riggi?
sure what the motion, what's the motion?
Okay,
the motion is to set up an ad hoc committee to study.
No, I want to wait till,
Discuss.
Smalley gets back and let him take it.
okay. Mr. Buron. Mr. Buron, you're frozen.
Okay.
Okay, do you, we're voting on the motion?
Voting no.
Okay,
I'm voting no.
okay, Mr. Campbell,
No,
Mr. Flaherty,
No,
and Ms. Wasconi.
Yes,
Okay, motion fails.
okay, hope this can be brought up again at the next meeting when we have Smalley here.
Can I-
I don't think he
Mr.
should be the
Mr.
sole
Chairman, can I make a
person
motion?
talking to Emily. I have 100% faith and confidence in him, but it's something that we as commissioners have been out in the cold on too much. I think we need to start being involved in things. Just my thought. We need policies out there.
Can you folks hear me
Thanks.
now?
yep.
Yes,
I agree with you, but I don't think we need an ad hoc. I think this committee in the near future needs to, with Jim Smalley, sit down and make the rules and regulations for the pickleball courts, and then people abide by them. And that's it.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, good idea. And it should probably be a whole separate meeting, because the pickleball courts take up, I know there's gonna be 8,000 suggestions for that night. But, oh, okay, I agree.
I didn't want to make it a flush.
Okay.
The-
But
the
thank
rest
you
of
for
the-
your consideration of my motion. It was good discussion. I appreciate it.
The rest of the agenda really has a lot to do with Jim Small. And does anyone think that we could put that off until the next meeting? And discuss that with him and how he sees capital planning, the budget and all that going forth?
Her husband died 2 weeks before her.
Okay,
Yep.
I
If
think
the
we
guy
have the
safe
tool,
swimming.
I think we
No.
have the tool property to talk
No.
about first.
You don't have the tool property to talk about because I couldn't get any additional information from town hall. Michael
I-
Dutton did not answer my email, so I don't have anything to tell you about the tool property.
I do. I
What?
can update on that.
Oh, okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, we know that it was given for, the land was given for passive recreation, fire stations being built. We all, well, if the vote's affirmative. I questioned at the informational session last week because there's still going to be some type of passive recreation there, be it trails, be it other kinds of passive recreation. It was given, land was given to the town for recreation. We, last I knew, were Parks and Recreation, so kind of what Danny's been saying, we need to be involved in things. So I asked at our informational session if Parks and Rec was going to be even ask their advice about what type of recreation should be there. Matt Rushton said, yes, that he would, the fire station committee, it probably has a better name than that, but would include us. So I guess we just have to come up with what, maybe meet with Matt or some representatives to see how much land we have. I think this is where Charlie might come in handy. If we could call on him for some of his hours that he's still with us, to look at the size of the piece of land, what he suggests. But I think we should be involved in it because, as I said, we are Parks and Rec and it was given for the purpose of recreation. But, so that's where that stands. And they said that they would include us for our input for it.
How do we get the town to start appreciating the Recreation Commission? Right now, they have no idea about including us on anything.
Right.
And that's
That's-
Michael Dutton, the town council, everything.
Mm-hmm. That's why
Well, I
I
was-
think we need to look at,
Sitting there thinking when you guys are talking, maybe we need to sometime go to a town council meeting, whether it's via Zoom, and get into public comment and explain our frustrations with the lack
Should-
of
should we
input that we
first-
have.
Should we first get an interpretation about the charter? I mean, it says right
Yeah,
out there
but-
that we're supposed to
Yeah,
have
I get-
procedural direction with the golf course. And we haven't been asked for anything on the golf course.
and it also, Mike says that for Parks and Rec in general, that Parks and Rec advises the town manager through the recreation superintendent. That hasn't been that way for years.
No,
We
it
don't
hasn't.
advise, we don't even find out what's happening. I haven't seen a budget. Danny's gonna laugh because he told me, why bother? He's been asking for 2 years. I was
Right.
amazed. I looked at the town council agenda for tomorrow night, and it had the town manager's operational budget. Recreation, Park and Rec, their budget excluding salaries is like $47,000. I mean, and yeah, equipment and stuff will probably come out of capital. I don't know what our budget has been for the last years. For all I know, it was 20,000 or 80,000. I don't know. Because we haven't seen it. We've been left in the dark. where according to, and I want to look at the town charter at the start of it again. I know I had looked at it before and highlight a bunch of things. According to the administrative code, the golf commission advises, we advise. I don't know about you guys. I can't remember the last time we advised on anything. And I think what Danny said is true. We need to take back control of things. All right.
Mike, you said, let's get an opinion, but who do we go to get the opinion? I mean.
Yeah, a lawyer.
now. Okay, do we have a
I
money?
I have one suggestion. It's a long shot, though. I think you can join the Massachusetts Recreation. They have a association. I think that might be a good idea at this point. I think it's like $100.
Mhm.
I think it might be a good idea to go to, put it in front of them, because this could happen to all of them. And I know it never happened before. Other towns. I know that other towns won when someone tried to put a municipal building on public land up in Salem, while they tried to put the harbor master into a recreation building in Duxbury, and they all got bounced off the land and everything. But we can sit here and say what we think should happen, which, I mean, I think it's pretty ridiculous if you think of how the golf thing went down. All that people that ran the golf course for all those years. And as far
Well,
as
they
the
put-
money,
Jim, they put a water and sewer department in a rec building for how many?
Yeah. no, I know that. And they also
Yes, I
put a police station on recreation land. And I remember the lawyer by the NIP making sure it was for recreation when it was spot the whole farm. But it's going to be really hard to stop a fire station from being built in town. And you're not going to be too popular when you're all done with it. But I think, like you said, it still should be a good idea for us to find out where we stand. And I was thinking the other day, so we can get this in the record too. If I'm not mistaken, we paid $406,000 to pay the bond. We paid $56,000 to pay for the bond for the clubhouse. That's $456,000. They took $145,000. By the way, the closest to that was Braintree. That was $35,000 that town used to take from the Braintree golf course. We paid $145,000 for that. And I think we paid $100,000 in benefits. So that was $700,000 from the golf, people running the golf course. They got to the town. And I believe this contract is for under $200,000. They have to give the town. So I don't have any doubt that they'll be able to do it. They won't have any problem coming across with the money.
Jim,
And
is the town?
They said
is
the only
town
reason
still
they didn't
paying
need
the
a vote of
bond?
the town, one last thing, I'm sorry. The only reason they didn't need a vote of the town council was they only have to have a vote of them if it involves the budget. Well, wouldn't
the
a
budget.
$1.5 million contract involve the budget? What if they don't come up with the money? What's that gonna do to your budget? But they said you don't have to, only on budget things they have to ask them. All these things come into legal questions. And the one time we did ask the town manager about enterprise funds, he said, yeah, I probably wouldn't stand up in court with them taking the money from you. That was 15 years ago. And we gave him over $800,000 that way. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for tonight.
Mhm.
I think
Jimmy?
we all quit and go to ball. I think it's been a long night. Why don't we all go? I'll make a motion to adjourn,
Okay,
even though it's inappropriate.
okay,
I'll
can I
second.
just,
Second,
Okay,
Go ahead, Gina, make
discussion?
one quick point.
I think looking at the rest of our agenda, we can hold off for next month. Give us more time to read the charter and see what it says and formulate our questions and possibly ask the town manager for another meeting. One of the things down further is the summer program. So I think we just have to decide on that tonight, because if we decide to have it, it has to stop being planned.
Well, I hate to say this again, but that sounds a lot like it's up to Smalley,
That's right.
because Charlie was the one that had to
No.
bear the brunt of that thing.
You did this last year too. You raised the prices. You went up to, it's $25 a day for one child. Then it goes to $20 for any other siblings. And there's a family maximum of 45. All I need to know is, do you want to hold the line on that cost?
Did we,
Don't we have to?
what was
decide
our
if we're doing the
expenses, Brooke?
program first?
Do we have the expenses? How much are we spending? And how many kids are going? Is it, some weeks I drive by and you see a good group, and other times I go by and I see
That's the way it
relatively no
is.
one there.
Yep.
Well, instead of losing money, why don't we think about trying to say, hey, you gotta pay, instead of going per day, per week, this is what it costs. It costs $125 a week, $150 a week.
Some
One
people
number.
only need it for 2 days, Tom. The 2 days they
I
have to go
know.
to work.
Uh,
Hey, it's for the kids. The town spends millions of dollars on other shit.
Yep.
Let the kids go, if they
Before we
lose
decide the
money,
rates, we have to decide if we're having the program.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. We have a program and keep the rates the same as last year.
Second,
Second,
Okay. Mr. Riggi,
Okay.
Mr. Buron,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell,
yes,
Mr. Flaherty,
yes,
and Ms. Wasconi.
yes. Point of order, we took a vote on a motion that the motion was made during discussion for another motion. So it's kind of like backwards, but if Jim and whoever else is, I can't remember who did the second for adjournment.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, we need you to
Second.
rescind your other motion so we can.
That's all right,
motion it now.
rescinded.
Okay. Okay, I second it.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Riggi,
Yes.
Mr. Buron. Mr. Buron,
Yes.
okay. Mr. Campbell,
Yes,
Mr. Flaherty,
yes.
and Ms. Wasconi.
Yes.
Okay. Unanimous, the meeting is adjourned.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Enjoy the
Dan.
game.
Good night, everyone.
before we hang up, Dan,
Dan
Yes.
left. Oh, wait.
No,
he didn't.
no.
why don't you get together, me, you, Tommy, and someone else, and we'll go to pickleball courts, Gene or whoever. If you
All right.
wanna, you go tomorrow. If you wanna go another day, give me a call.
No, they're going tomorrow.
Yeah, include me too, Jim.
Yeah, I included you.
Yep,
Jim, is that lesson at 9 o'clock tomorrow?
That's what people are telling me. It's posted. I don't know. I think
Yes.
Bobby Sergio posted it.
All right.
You
I'm
know,
gonna go
I
down
wouldn't be
tonight.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony wasn't gonna be there.
Why?
I'm gonna
It's
go
every
down tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Because
in
Emily asked
April.
Tony to give lessons.
I think Emily's thing said that you and Tony and Bob, hold on 1 second.
Every Tuesday in April at 9 o'clock.
Someplace I
Oh.
saw that it was.
I was
Jim
every
teaching.
Tuesday in March at 1 o'clock. I'm out. I'm gone.
Okay, it's
No,
No,
not
I'm
in her-
serious. I know I do it for 4 weeks. I did it for 4 weeks.
Yep.
So
I
it's
don't know
probably
who's
Bobby
doing this one
Sergio
then.
and probably Tony.
Okay, I thought I saw your name, but it wasn't just on the thing I had
Well,
screenshot.
no one's asked me. So
Jim, I'm gonna go down just to check it out on my own and then.
yeah,
I'll get-
and I
maybe-
suggest you do. I think it's good to start that way and
Yes.
see other people. And then,
Mhm.
like I said, give me a call someday and we'll go down if
I'll-
Tommy can
Yeah, I'll
make it.
text you, call you.
No, let's do it. Danny, you'll
know what?
catch on.
Danny,
You'll catch on.
Can I
Danny.
ask you, Jim
One more.
or Tom? I was looking at paddles. I don't